Hello everyone, this is Aryan Thakkar, your coach and mentor, and welcome back to my YouTube channel on Aryan Tutorials, where in this video we are going to take up the Act 3 Scene 4 of the play Macbeth for ISC Class 12. An extremely important scene, the banquet scene, also popularly known as the Banquo's Ghost scene, where Macbeth and Lady Macbeth have hosted a banquet, a royal dinner feast for the nobles of Scotland. As the feast begins, uh, one of the hired murderers he comes to inform Macbeth that they have successfully carried out Banquo's murder, but then Fleance has managed to escape. To which Macbeth feels a little troubled and paranoid at this fact, but then he immediately recovers himself and he says that I am going to deal with Fleance later. So he dismisses this fact that Fleance is an immediate threat at present. Rather, he goes and joins the banquet, joins the party, where sooner he is encountered by Banquo's ghost. And upon seeing Banquo's ghost, he is so terrified, he is extremely frightened at his sight that he directly confronts the ghost, who is invisible to other nobles and to Lady Macbeth. And the ambience of party of the banquet gets a little spoiled over here. Then the Banquo's ghost vanishes. Again, when he comes back to his normal fit and he raises a toast to change the mood, to uplift the mood of the party, and he raises a toast in the name of Banquo, sooner, second time Banquo's ghost approaches and he gets again petrified at this sight. Lady Macbeth, she tries to cover up for Macbeth by taking an active role once again, the way she had always upheld her role as an active character in the Act 1 and Act 2 that we had seen in our class 11. But despite her attempt to cover up for her husband, his erratic behavior, his absurd behavior, and his direct confrontation with the ghost spoils the party and the party breaks up. Also, Ross feels a little suspicious. Ross and Lennox, they feel a little suspicious of Macbeth, that why would Macbeth behave like this? This highlights at the impending, at the impending downfall of Macbeth, that his position, his throne has started to slip away. Towards the end of the scene, Macbeth recollects this fact that in spite of his invitation sent to Macduff, his absence leads to suspicion in the mind of Macbeth that maybe Macduff is somewhat planning against Macbeth. He's plotting against Macbeth. So he resolves to visit the Weird Sisters next day to make sure of his fortune and to know what is in store of his future. This scene tells us about the Macbeth's troubled mind and the extreme paranoia that he has descended into. His paranoid state of mind is evident through his confrontation to the ghost, and his decision to visit the Weird Sisters shows his obsession and desperation to maintain his kingly position. He is extremely dwelling in insecurity of his reign, of his kingly position. So chalo, let's go. Let's discover and unravel what's there in the scene. Act 3, Scene 4 takes place in Inverness, the same place in the castle. The same place, hall in the palace. It takes place in the hall, inside a hall, where the banquet is to be served. Okay? Where the banquet is prepared for the guests and the nobles of Scotland. Enters Macbeth, Lady Macbeth, Ross, Lennox, lords and attendants. Macbeth. You know your own degrees. Sit down at first and last the hearty welcome. So you know all of your ranks, you all know your ranks of hierarchy, and you all know your designated spots where you all have to sit. So according to your rank, from the highest to the lowest rank, please sit down at your designated place and I extend my heartiest welcome to you all. ठीक है, आप सबका स्वागत है. So अपने ऊंचे पद एंड सबसे नीचे वाले पद के हिसाब से जहां पे भी आपकी जगह होनी चाहिए, आपको पहले से पता है कौन सी जगह है, आप प्लीज बैठ जाइए. Lords, thanks to your majesty, thank you so much for your welcome, my lord. Macbeth, ourself will mingle with society and play the humble host. Our hostess keeps her state, but in the best time we will require her welcome. So ourself, meanwhile, as the banquet will be served, I am going to come and interact with each one of y'all, and me and my wife, that is Lady Macbeth, we will mix with y'all to make it even more ceremonial, this banquet even more ceremonial. We will play the humble host for y'all, and while Lady Macbeth will be seated in her royal chair, she'll be seated in her royal position, royal throne. But when the best time comes, means in the appropriate time, during the appropriate time, we will also ask her to extend her welcome to all of you. ठीक है? मैं लेडी मैकबेथ को कहूंगा कि वो तुम सबका स्वागत करे. अभी के लिए सब कोई बैठ जाओ अपने अपने जगह पे. Lady Macbeth, she's like, don't need to wait for the time. Pronounce it for me, sir. So pronounce it for me, sir, to all our friends. For my heart speaks, they are welcome. And meanwhile, the first murderer appears at the door. So extend my welcome to all the guests who are present. Don't wait for the time. मैं अभी ही मेरे तरफ से उन सबको स्वागत कर दीजिए, उन सबका स्वागत कर दीजिए, ठीक है? क्योंकि मेरा दिल, from the bottom of my heart says that they all are extremely welcomed over here. Meanwhile, the first murderer appears at the door, and Macbeth, थोड़ा सा ऐसे खिसकते हुए, he has caught the glimpse of the first murderer. उसके दिख गया है कि murderer दरवाजे पे खड़ा है, तो he's like, he says something, and meanwhile he's just going towards the door. He's walking towards the door. So he says that, see, they encounter thee with their hearts' thanks. Both sides are even, and here I'll sit in the midst. Be large in mirth, and anon we'll drink a measure, the table round. So make sure that you all mingle yourself with each other. And he's saying it to Lady Macbeth. Dekho कि they feel a little comfortable. Both sides are even. Both the sides of the tables are full, and I am going to sit somewhere here in the middle. ठीक है, in the midst यानी in the middle. यहाँ कहीं पे वो position बताते हुए कि मैं इधर कहीं पे center of the table में बैठूंगा. Enjoy the ceremony. Mix yourself in happiness, in the festivity, and in a while, we are going to come and raise a toast. ठीक है, we are going to celebrate me and my wife's coronation. Approaching the door, Macbeth walks towards the door where the murderer is waiting, and he tells the murderer that there is blood on thy face. तुम्हारे चेहरे पे खून लगा हुआ है, ठीक है? And he just rubs it off from the murderer's face, saying that whose blood is this? There is blood on thy face. First murderer confirms, then, oh, my face is covered in blood. So maybe it is of Banquo's then. He confirms that it is Banquo's blood. Macbeth, 'tis better thee without than he within. Is he dispatched? It is better that Banquo's blood is on your face, rather it is there in his own body. Is he dispatched? Have you, killed him? Have you been successful in killing him? My lord, his throat is cut. I have cut his throat, ठीक है? And that I did for him. I cut his throat. That means he has been killed. Oh, thou art the best of the cut throats. Yet he is good that did the like for Fleance. And if thou didst it, thou art the nonpareil. So he says that, oh, I know that you are one of the best cut throats. That तुम गला काटने में सबसे ज्यादा माहिर हो. You cut the throats of others with much precision. And he is equally good. He's talking about whosoever has cut the throat of Fleance would be equally good, yet he is good. He would be as good as you that did the like for Fleance, who would have killed Fleance or cut his throat as well. And then he says, if thou didst it, means if you killed both Banquo and Fleance, means if you have cut the throat of both father and son, Banquo and Fleance, then you are non-pareil. Non-pareil means you are unmatched, you are unparalleled. You are incomparable. मतलब तुम्हारे जितना अच्छा और कोई हो नहीं सकता. In cutting the throats of others. First murderer, he says that, my royal sir, Fleance has escaped. So, sir, I'm extremely sorry to inform you that we have just successfully killed Banquo, but Fleance, owing to the darkness, when the torch was extinguished in the previous scene that we had done, Fleance managed to escape. And Macbeth feels troubled, inwardly troubled at this fact, because Fleance's escape allows the part of witch's prophecy to remain true, that Banquo's descendant shall bear the royal throne, royal lineage. ठीक है? So this marks that Banquo's position will slip away eventually from the throne. Macbeth, then comes my fit again. I had else been perfect. whole as the marble, founded as the rock, as broad and general as the casing air. But now I'm cabined, cribbed, confined, bound into the saucy doubts and fears. But Banco's safe, right? So there comes my fit again. There I feel again terrified at this thought. I feel inwardly troubled at this fact. Otherwise, if Leanne would have been murdered, if Leanne would have been killed, then I would have been as solid, as sound, as whole as a marble, as firm as a rock, as steady as a rock, as firm as a rock, unmoved as a rock, as broad and general as the casing air, means as free as the surrounding air. I would have been free to move about from one place to another without any fears or doubt. But now, upon hearing this, that Fleance has managed to escape, once again I feel inwardly prisoned in the doubts and dwelling into the insecurities, which is again clouding my mind. So, but now once again I'm cabined, cribbed, confined, all means confinement. He feels prisoned in his own mind at the thought that Fleance has managed to escape, even though he tried to overthrow the part of witch's prophecy, but then again he failed at it. Okay? And I'm once again bound in that saucy doubts, means I'm dwelling in insecurity, I'm apprehensive. Again, I have to be I have to reside in the state of worriness. I have to worry about this fact and fears. But have you successfully murdered Banco? Banco is dead, right? Please confirm this to me. My good lord, yes, my good lord, he has been killed and he's safe in the ditch. He bites with 20 trenched gashes on his head, the least a death to nature. Yes, my good lord, Banco has been delivered from life. He has been killed and his body is lying safely into the ditch means into the pit, or you can say drain as well. ठीक है, दोनों meaning बन सकता है. There he bites mean there he lies, his body lies with 20 trenched gashes, means with 20 deep cuts on his head, least a death to nature, which would have been enough for a person to die. So उसे मैंने 20 जोरदार चोट मारा है, which would be sufficient enough for a person to meet his death. ठीक है? Thanks for that. Thank you so much for doing it. And there the grown serpent lies. So again he is using the reptile imagery, the imagery of the snake, to say that Banco is the serpent, the grown serpent. He was the mature serpent. Because Banco was suspicious of Macbeth, so Macbeth has delivered him from all of his suspicions. Okay? So Banco is the grown serpent who is lying dead right now in the ditch, but then the worm is basically Fleance, the young serpent, who is incapable or powerless at present, but he says that in future, in the due course of time, he will also venom breed. Venom breed means he'll turn out to be poisonous and he might be a potential threat to Macbeth later on. So the worm that has fled, the Fleance that has managed to escape, hath nature in the time, means with the passage of time will venom breed. He will grow out to be a threat. He'll become poisonous in future, but no teeth for the present. At now, he is powerless. He doesn't have anything in him to cause a harm upon Macbeth. Get thee gone. Go from here. Tomorrow we'll hear ourselves again. Tomorrow I'm going to meet you up. So for the time being, just depart yourself from here. Lady Macbeth, my royal lord, you do not give the cheer. The feast is sold that is not often vouched, while 'tis a making, 'tis given with welcome. To feed were best at home, from thence the sauce to meet is ceremony. Meeting were bare without it. So she is reminding Macbeth, my lord, you are not attending on the guests. Okay? You are not playing the host, which you should be. So, the feast has been served, the feast has been sold, which is often not vouched, which is often not accompanied by your presence. So if you do not come and accompany your guest, if you do not mix with them, they will feel as if they are paying for the supper, they are paying for the dinner. Okay? So if you do not accompany your guest and make them feel welcome, they will start to feel that they are paying for the dinner, for the meal. Because if they just have to come here, eat and go, it is best done at home. कि अगर सिर्फ खाना ही खाना है तो इससे अच्छा हमने बैंक्वेट क्यों होस्ट किया है, उससे अच्छा तो लोग घर पे ही खाना खा लेते. बट if there is a festivity, and festivity has to be accompanied with the most welcoming feeling of the host. So जो लोग पार्टी थ्रो करते हैं, अगर वो लोग ही एड्रेस नहीं करेंगे, लोगों के साथ मिक्स नहीं करेंगे, जेल अलोंग नहीं करेंगे, then it makes no sense. Because from thence the sauce to meat. Sauce to meat means, to add that extra flavor, to add that extravaganza to a ceremony. The welcoming, accompanying your guest is equally important. That is what she's saying. That sauce to meat is ceremony, meeting with were bare without it. So if you do not accompany your guest, if you do not come and mix with them, mingle with them, then meeting, throwing a banquet or a party is bare. Bare means, it is useless. It is dull without it. So, Macbeth, sweet remembrancer, good reminder, and now good digestion, wait upon an appetite and health on both. Now he just cracks a joke saying that, for having a good appetite, to have a good digestion, it requires, empty stomach, appetite. At the same time, you need to have a good health to digest the food. So, making the mood a little bit more chilling sort of a thing. Yeah. Lennox, mayst please your highness, sit, please your highness, my lord, come and sit along with me. Come and sit here. Now the ghost of Banquo appears and he makes himself sit at Macbeth's chair. So the ghost of Banquo enters and sits in Macbeth's place. Macbeth, here had we now our country's honor roofed were the graced person of our Banquo's presence, who may I rather challenge for unkindness than pity for mischance. So he says that under this roof, the entire nobles of Scotland would have been present if Banquo would have been here. Now Macbeth is being a little hypocritic. Macbeth knows this fact that, he himself has got Banquo murdered, yet in order to maintain a facade, in order to maintain a pretense in front of others, he is like, the host would have been complete. It is a bit incomplete if Banquo would have been present over here. Then I would have said that the entire nobles of Scotland are sitting under the same roof. Got it? So all the nobles of the Scotland would be gathered here under one roof if Banquo would have been present over here, who I may rather challenge, and I am going to chide him for not being present. I am going to scold him. तो वो दिखावा कर रहा है लोगों के सामने कि बैंको को आने दो, मैं उसे डांटूंगा अच्छे से, ठीक है? For his unkindness. Unkindness means for keeping us deprived of his presence. कि वो हमारे साथ बैठा हुआ नहीं, इसके लिए मैं उसे डांट लगाऊंगा. Rather than pitying for mischance, means rather I would not want to grieve at this thought that something might have happened to Banquo, something wrong might have happened to him, and that is why he's not present here. So rather than pitying or thinking about this fact that Banquo would have gone through something mischance, कुछ बुरा हुआ हो उसके साथ जिसकी वजह से he is not here for the banquet, and rather मैं उसे डांट लगाऊंगा, ठीक है? I hope that is clear. Ross, his absence, sir, lays blame upon his promise. Please it, your highness, to grace us with your royal company. His absence, my lord, sir, his absence means that he himself is to be blamed for his absence, ठीक है? That he has broken his promise, and we are going to, accuse him for breaking his promise. For the meanwhile, for the time being, please come and sit with us. Let us be a part of your royal company. ठीक है? Macbeth, he moves his eyes around everywhere that kahan baithu main? There is no space for me. The table's full. Here's a place reserved, sir. Here. Lennox is like, you come and sit here. Positioning at Macbeth's, where Macbeth was designated to sit, wahan pe dikhate hue, sit here. Where? Here, my good lord. What is that moves your highness? So what is that which is bothering you? Why do you look so startled? Why do you look so astonished? ठीक है? Moves your highness means why are you looking startled, perplexed, confused, astonished? Macbeth, which of you have done this? Who has played this joke onto me? What, my good lord? What are you saying? So like attendants and lords, they are all baffled, they are all confused at what is Macbeth talking about. Since Macbeth is hallucinating right now, maybe it's just a figment of his fear or it is manifestation of his own crimes. कि Macbeth ने Banquo को murder कराया, maybe his guilt is is overriding his thoughts, and maybe that is why he is hallucinating. उसे visions दिखाई दे रहे हैं of Banquo's ghost, who is invisible to Lady Macbeth and to all other attendants and lords. So which of you have done this? Who has played this prank on me? What my good lord? Thou canst not say. Now he's addressing this to Banquo's ghost directly. He's confronting his terror that is within him towards Banquo's ghost. He feels extremely petrified. He gets terrorized at Banquo's ghost sight. So thou canst not say I did it. Never shake thy gory locks at me. You cannot accuse me of me having committed your murder. I am not the one who has killed you. So you do not look at me in your, do not, you know, shake your gory locks. Gory locks means your bloody head at me. I am not the one who has killed you. So do not shake your head at me. Gentlemen, rise. The highness is not well. Please get up from here. I think my lord is unwell. He is sick at present. Now, Lady Macbeth, she comes and she takes the charge of covering up this entire erratic behavior of Macbeth. Okay, once again. Sit, worthy friends, my lord is often thus and had been from his youth. Pray you keep sit, the fit is momentary, and upon a thought he will again be well. If much you note him, you shall offend him and extend his passion. Feed and regard him not. And then she goes to Macbeth and, like, you know, in a very subtle, low voice, she's like, are you man? So she questions his manhood. Sit down, worthy friends. My lord is often thus. He often behaves in this manner, in this abnormal manner, and had been from his youth. So she covers it up by saying that, you know, it's a childhood, you know, absurd behavior of his, and since his childhood he behaves like this. And I request you, pray you, keep seated, be seated at your place. This fit is momentary. She dismisses Macbeth's behavior as a momentary fit. She says that it is a short-lived temperament of his, and he is going to get back to his normal state once again. Just upon a thought, in a while, in a meantime, वो अभी वापस से ठीक हो जाएगा. Just उसको ignore करो, उसके ऊपर ध्यान ही मत दो. He will be well again. He will again be well. If much you note him, if you pay him unnecessary attention, ठीक है? If you take note of him, if you mark him a lot, you shall offend him and extend his passion. Means अगर तुम लोग बहुत ज्यादा उसको देखोगे और ध्यान दोगे, he is going to act more and more erratic. He is going to act more and more irrational, and it will prolong this state of his. मतलब वो और थोड़े लंबे समय तक ऐसे ही बिहेव करेगा. So उससे अच्छा उससे इग्नोर करो, उसे ध्यान ही मत दो. Feed, have your dinner, and regard him not. Do not pay any attention to him. And then she just gets up from her place and she goes to walks up to Macbeth and asks him that, are you a man enough? What are you doing? What an unman sort of a guy you are. She questions, or you know, she tries to hurt his male ego so that she can bring him back from that hallucination, from his state of trance that अभी वो खोया हुआ है अपने दिमाग में बैंकों की घोस्ट को देख के. And to which, still in his paranoid state of mind, he says that, and a bold one that dare look on that which might appall the devil. Yes, I indeed am a man, and such a brave one that if I look at the devil, it might even scare the devil away. कि even शैतान भी मुझसे डर जाएगा, मैं इस टाइप का man हूँ, you know. So he's a little boastful about his manhood. Oh, proper stuff. Utter nonsense what you're saying, Lady Macbeth. This is the very painting of your fear. This is the same air-drawn dagger which you said led you to Duncan. Oh, these flaws and starts, imposters of true fear, would well become a woman's story at a winter fire authorized by her grandam. Shame itself. Why do you make such faces? When all's done, you look but on a stool. So please utter nonsense, whatever you're saying. Just chew up your own words. This is the same hallucination. It is the same manifestation of your fear. It is just the figment of your thought. The same air-drawn dagger that we had seen in the Act 1, Scene 7, I think. I don't remember exactly. So it is the same air-drawn dagger which you had said, which you had narrated it to me, that led you to Duncan. So it is just a painting of your fear. And all these flaws in start, all these panic-stricken state of yours, frame of your body, are imposters to true fear. It is incomparable to the actual fear that might come if you continue to behave this way. अगर तुम ऐसे ही behave करते रहोगे, जो असली डर है, तुम्हें उसका अंदाजा भी नहीं है जो आने वाला है, ठीक है? And this behavior of yours would be suitable enough for a woman's story at a winter's fire. You know, right now you are behaving like one who is like a woman who is sitting by the fireside and she has been approved by her grandam, means by her grandmother, to narrate a scary story. So do not act like that woman who's narrating a scary story and trying to scare everyone. Rather, when you come back from your state of trance, when you recover yourself, you'll realize that you are just looking at a bare stool, at an empty stool, and it was just all your imagination. Okay? So she is trying to question, shame on you for the way you are behaving. Why are you making such faces? Because when everything is over, once you are out of your fear, you will realize that you were just looking at an empty stool. So she's questioning Macbeth's manhood in order to control the situation. Okay? She's trying to cover up for Macbeth by trying to uh, pacify or mellow him down by questioning his manhood, by attacking his male ego. Macbeth, Prithee, see there. He's like turning Lady Macbeth's face. Look there. That's what I'm telling you to look at. Behold, look low. How say thou? And now what do you have to say? Look there. देखो. And अब बताओ मुझे तुम्हें क्या दिखाई दे रहा है? What will you say about this? Why? What? Kerai, now again he is addressing it to Banquo's ghost, these lines. Why? What, Kerai? If thou canst not speak to, if charnel houses and our graves must send those that we bury back, our monument shall be the maws of kite. So, what do you think? He's talking it to Banquo's ghost, saying that, what do you think? Do I care the way you are nodding at me? And if you can nod, if you can shake your head, then I command you to speak to me. Okay? Speak. And if the charnel houses and our graves must send those that we bury back. So if dead can return back from the graves once we have buried them, so if the graves can expose itself and let the dead out, then it is better. इससे अच्छा हो कि हम लोग किसी को बरी ही ना करें, किसी के मरने के बाद उन्हें उनके graves में ना डाल के हम उन्हें लटका दे, for the kites, means for the birds to come and prey on them. So if the graveyard can send back the dead people from their graves, it is better than burying them after their death. We let them out in open for the birds, for the kites, for the scavengers to come and prey upon them. I hope that is clear. And Ghost of Banquo vanishes for the first instance. And Lady Macbeth, she is all disappointed and she's like, what kind of behavior is this? What quite unmanned and folly, okay? Your foolishness has destroyed your manhood. You have lost your senses in acting in such a foolish manner. Macbeth is like, if I stand here, I promise I saw him. So, as true as it is that I am alive and I'm standing here, it is equally true that I saw him. I did see his, apparition. I did see Banquo's figure. Fie for shame. Shame on you, Macbeth. Blood had been shed ere now, and in the olden time, ere human statute purged the gentle wheel. Ay, and since too murders have been performed too terrible for the ear, the times have been that when the brains were out and the man would die and there an end, but now they rise again with 20 mortal murders on their crown and push us from our stools. This is more strange than such a murder is. Now he's talking about that in the ancient times, in the past times, blood had been shed before as well. So it is not like something new के पहला बार किसी का खून या खराबा हुआ है, किसी का मर्डर हुआ है. इससे पहले भी कई मौतें हुई है. A lot of death have taken place and a lot of bloodshedding have been done in the past times as well. In the olden times, ere human statute purged the gentle wheel, and before the laws had cleansed the gentle wheel, means the commonwealth, and made it noble. So, much blood has been shed to purify, the affairs of the state. राज्य को गंध से मुक्त करने के लिए, to provide liberty to the kingdom from the impure blood, much blood has been shed before. And since too murders have been performed, a lot of murders have been committed in the past times as well, and that too terrible for the ear. And such kind of murders had happened in the past times, which would shake your nerves if you were to hear it. The kind in a manner that people have been sentenced to death. जैसे लोगों को मारा गया है, जैसे उनकी मौतें हुई है, अगर हमारी कान उस टाइप के स्टोरीज को सुनेंगी, if they had been narrated to our ears, we would be extremely terrified on hearing the kind of murders which have taken place. The times have been that when the brains were out, and a lot many times, people's brain have been knocked out of their head. It has been dashed so that they die. And it is said that once their brains have been knocked out, have been taken out, the man would die. The man would die. And there an end. And it would be an ultimate end to the person. But now, he is comparing the death, the murders of the past time to that of present time. That present time has become, a bit different. That when people have been sent to death, they once again rise from their graves. But now they rise again. The dead is rising from their graves with 20 mortal murders, means with 20 gashes. That murderer had said, first murderer, when he entered the scene, he told that I have put 20 trenched gashes onto Banco's head. He's saying that with 20 gashes, wounds on his head, the dead is rising back from its grave. On their crown means on their head. And that dead has come to push us, to overthrow us from our stools, from our position, kingly position. And this is more strange than the murders which have been committed in the past time. इस टाइप की इंसिडेंट्स जहां पे लोग मरने के बाद वापस आ जा रहे हैं अपने ग्रेव से, ये बहुत ज्यादा अजीब है than the past murders which have taken place in the ancient time. So he is saying all this out of his internal trouble and paranoia. ठीक है? He is extremely horrified at seeing Banco's ghost. My worthy lord, your noble friends do lack you. What are you doing? Look at the way you're behaving. The guests are waiting on you. Please come back to your senses. Oh, yeah, I do forget. Thank you for reminding me. Do not muse at me, my most worthy friend. I have a strange infirmity which is nothing to those that know me. Come, love and health to all, then I'll sit down. Give me some wine, fill full I drink to the general joy of the whole table, and to our dear friend Banco, whom we miss. Would he were here, to all, and him we thirst, and to all. So basically he raises a toast by saying that, why are you looking at me like this? This kind of behavior of mine is not anything strange to those who know me or those who have known me. So people who know me well, they know that I have this condition where I act a little disorderly, which is nothing to be taken note of, nothing to be bothered about. Come, love and health to all. Now he's raising a toast, अपना glass उठाते हुए. May you all have a good health and a good appetite. And let me, just pour my glass to the fullest. उसमें wine डालो so that I can just drink it, gulp it down. And I'm going to drink this in the name of Banco, that I wish he would have been present over here. And he raises a toast. Lord, our duties and the pledge, means we all join you in raising that toast. And they just celebrate the ceremony. They just drink from their glasses. And the moment Macbeth takes the name of Banco, Banco's ghost reappears in the scene holding a glass in his hand and looking at Macbeth like, here I am. Yeah. So re-enters ghost of Banco, and Macbeth catches the glimpse of Banco. So once again, he in his fit of terror, he again confronts Banco's ghost by commanding him to just get out of his sight. Avaunt and quit my sight, let the earth hide thee, thy bones are marrowless and thy blood is cold, thou hast no speculation in those eyes which thou dost glare with. So please get out of my sight and quit my sight, just go away before my sight and let the earth hide thee. Get back to your grave, because thy bones are marrowless. You do not have any bones in your body post your death. Your blood is cold, means you cannot pose any harm onto me. Thou has no speculation. You are powerless. Okay? You have no speculation in those eyes. You are powerless, with which you are glaring at me, with which you are staring at me. Okay? So just get out from here. Lady Macbeth, think of this, good peers. Once again, she steps in, trying to cover up for Macbeth. She says that, think of this, good peers, my friends, but just as a thing of custom. Just take it as that same habit that he has, strange habit of his, and it's no other, it's nothing else. Just do not take note of him. Only it spoils the pleasure of the time. It is just spoiling the mood and the ambience. Just concentrate on your feast and don't mark him. Don't take a note of him. And Macbeth continues to confront Banco's ghost, saying that, what man dare I dare? I am as daring as any other man would be. Approach thou like the rugged Russian bear or the armed rhinoceros or the Hykran tiger. Take any shape but that, and my firm nerves shall never tremble. Or be alive again and dare me to the desert with thy sword. If trembling I inhabit, then protest me the baby of a girl. Hence, horrible shadow, unreal mockery, hence. So he says that I am equally daring as any other man. Approach, come and approach to me, come and meet me in any other form that you want to take, be it that of a Russian bear. You take, now he's using the animal imagery to show the strength and might of these animals. Take the power and might of these animals. That either you take the form of a rugged Russian bear, that strong Russian bear, or the armed means armored. We know that rhinoceros has a very thick skin, thick exterior. So either you take the form of the rugged Russian bear or the armed rhinoceros or the Hykran tiger. Take any shape but that. You want to take the shape of any animal, you take it, but except for the kind of shape that you are in right now. Do not take this. He's talking about the ghostly apparition presence of Banco. कि तुम्हें जो शेप लेना है तुम ले लो, बट ये वाला मत आओ, इस शेप को लेके मेरे सामने मत आओ. And you will see that my firm nerves will never tremble, that my courage will never give way. You know, it is never going to tremble, shake at your sight. Or even if you want, be alive again. So once again you come to life. He's telling it to Banco's ghost कि तुम चाहो तो जिंदा हो जाओ and dare me to the desert on an isolated place. Desert means isolated place. I dare you, I challenge you to come and duel with me. DUEL वाला duel. Duel means a sword fight. ठीक है? That duel at some deserted place, some isolated place. And if trembling, and if I tremble when I would challenge you for a sword fight, and if you see that I tremble while fighting with you, then protest me, then make fun of me, mock me, that baby of a girl, as little as a girl's doll. मुझे कंसिडर कर लेना कि मैं किसी छोटी लड़की का गुड़िया हूं, ठीक है, अगर मैं एक बार भी तुमसे डरूं. Hence, horrible shadow, just get out of my sight from here. You unreal mockery, you are nothing, just an illusion, just एक भ्रम हो मेरे. Hence, be gone, just get out of here. And the ghost of Banco vanishes. He disappears. And the moment he goes away, he says, why so, being gone, I am a man again. Pray you sit still. So, you see, there he goes away. So he says that I am only unmanned when I see Banco's ghost. And the moment he is not present before my eyes, I am man again. Once again, I am returned to my manhood. Okay? So I am man again. And you know, one of the Lord was trying to get up. So Macbeth usko just बैठाते हुए that sit down once again, sit still. Lady Macbeth, she is extremely disappointed. She's like, you have spoiled the entire mood of the banquet. So you have displaced the mirth, you have disrupted, you have broken the merriment of the banquet, you have broke the good meeting with the most admired disorder. With your astonishing and erratic behavior, you have spoiled the mood of the party. Macbeth. Now, he's still a little paranoid and he's still wrapped in his thoughts, where he says that, can such things be and overcome us like a summer's cloud without our special wonder? So can these things be true? Can this be real? And such sights can come to horrify us, can come to, you know, make us scared, like a summer's cloud means summer, which is considered to be very pleasing of a season, but at the same time that pleasing summer is also at times accompanied with cloud. So he's comparing Banco's ghost presence to that of a summer's cloud, which has come to make us feel astonished, to make us feel perplexed and surprised. You make me strange even to the disposition that, oh, you making me feel a little weird, making me sound like I'm acting weird seeing such strange sights. And when now I think that you can behold such sight, he's saying it to Lady Macbeth, when I think upon this fact that you being a woman, when you can act so passive, so cold upon witnessing such sight, it makes me question my own manhood, that am I really so scared of seeing such disastrous apparition, and you being a woman, you are not getting terrified at these things. So when I think that you can behold such sights, when I see you looking at those terrible things, and keeping the natural ruby of your cheeks, means without losing your face color, and you can still pretend to be calm and composed and normal when mine is blanched with fear, when my face is struck with terror, ठीक है, with paleness, inflicted with paleness. So I wonder that am I actually a man or not? क्या मैं आदमी हूं भी या नहीं? क्योंकि मैं डर रहा हूं और तुम एक औरत होके, लेडी मैकबेथ को बोल रहा है, तुम एक औरत होके ऐसे घासली साइड को देख के तुम्हें कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा है. यू आर एक्टिंग सो कोल्ड एंड पैसिव टुवर्ड्स इट. Ross, what sights, my lord? Now Ross is getting a little suspicious of Macbeth. What sight is he talking about? Because Banquo's ghost was visible to nobody apart from Macbeth. So what are you talking about? Lady Macbeth understands that if Macbeth goes on speaking, this might lead to further suspicion onto them. So she immediately just breaks up the party by saying that, I pray you, speak not. Please, I request you, do not speak with my lord, with Macbeth. He grows worse and worse. If you continue to speak with him, it is just going to prolong his terror, his erratic, abrupt behavior, abnormal behavior. So he grows worse and worse. Question enrages him. Question is just going to aggravate, means extend his behavior, erratic behavior. So at once, right now, good night. At once, just leave. Stand not upon the order of your going. Do not worry about going in your ranks, in your orders, according to your authority, according to your hierarchy, but go at once. Immediately leave at once. ठीक है? Lennox, good night, in better health attend his majesty. Good night to you, madam, and I hope that he recovers soon. My lord recovers soon. Lady Macbeth, a kind good night to all. Good night to all of you. Exeunt all but Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. So everybody quits, exits, except for Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. Macbeth continues to be paranoid and he says that it will have blood. Since blood has been shed, Macbeth has drowned his hands into bloodshedding. Blood is just going to quench its thirst by, shedding more blood. So it will have blood, they say, blood will have blood. So blood shedding is going to lead to more blood shedding. So मैंने अपने आप को मर्डर्स में इंडल्ज किया है एंड क्योंकि मैंने अपने हाथ खून से लाल कर लिए हैं, खून से और खून बहेगा एंड मैंने जिसका भी खून बहाया है, इट इज जस्ट गोइंग टू कम एंड सीक रिवेंज ऑन टू मी बाय शेडिंग मोर एंड मोर ऑफ ब्लड. ठीक है, इट इज लाइक लहू मांगे लहू, लहू से लहू बहेगा, दैट सॉर्ट ऑफ अ थिंग. ठीक है. Stones have been known to move and trees to speak, and augurs and understood relations have by magpies and shows and rooks brought forth the secretest man of blood. What is the night? So he is saying that the graves have let open the dead. Stones means the gravestones. बोलते हैं ना, जो graveyard है, graves जो है dead का, it has let it open and उसमें से dead people are returning back to us. It is coming back to us. So gravestones have been known to move and trees to speak. Trees have started pronouncing the murders of the dead. Now all these are your ill omens, bad omens or potent that he's talking about, and out of his paranoia he's saying all that. Augurs means all the potents, all the bad omens, bad indications have been let loose. It has been let out and understood relations by magpies and shows. Magpies are basically the secret holders, and shows is an archaic form, means it is the old English form of crows. So crows and rooks and all the birds are moving about to pronounce the death that we have committed, the murders that we have committed. So our deeds are going to be announced by all the omens, all the potent creatures of the secretest man of blood, means the amount of blood that we have shed and we have kept it concealed, we have kept it hidden from others. It is going to be pronounced soon. People are soon going to come to know. This is foreshadowing into the Macbeth's downfall, which is impending later. ठीक है. What is the night? What time it is to Lady Macbeth? Almost at odd. I don't know. It is odd at hour. Maybe it is either morning or it is night. Which is which? I don't know. ठीक है. Whether it is night or day, I don't know. What is your opinion? How sayest thou that Macduff denies his person at our great bidding? So I commanded Macduff to be present for the banquet, for the feast, and he did not come for the banquet. So what are your thoughts about him not being present here for the feast. So what do you think about this fact? Did you send to him, sir? Had you invited him? He says that I hear it, by the way, but I will send. I have heard it indirectly, but I'm going to call for him. There is not a one of them, but in his house I keep a servant feed. So in Macduff's castle, there is not a single person who is a secret spy of me. कोई भी ऐसा इंसान नहीं है जिसको I have bribed to spy upon Macduff and bring his news of whereabouts to me. So Macduff के कैसल में जितने लोग हैं मेरे लिए काम करते हैं, एक भी इंसान ऐसा नहीं है जो मुझे उसके बारे में ना बताता हो. So I'm going to call upon him, and if he denies, then he is going to, prepare something against him. So there are two matter of concern which Macbeth right now is going through. One is Fleance's escape, and second is Macduff's absence from the feast. He feels that Macduff is secretly plotting against Macbeth, and therefore he decides that I will tomorrow and betimes, as soon as possible tomorrow, I will to the Weird Sisters, I will go to the three witches, and more shall they speak. I'm going to command them to speak to me about what is in store in future for me. ठीक है? But for now, I am bent to know, I am determined. By the worst means the worst. I am determined to know the worst of the worst that is in store for me. जो भी बुरा हो सकता है, अब मुझे जानना है. This shows his obsession with maintaining his position, kingly position. For mine own good, for my personal well-being, and all causes shall give away. Means at moment, from now onwards, my personal well-being, my personal welfare is the topmost priority. मैं सिर्फ आई एम गोइंग टू बी सेल्फ सेंटर्ड, एंड मैं सिर्फ अपने और अपने राजपाट के बारे में ही सोचूंगा कि कैसे मुझे अपना पोजीशन को मेंटेन करना है. ठीक है? I am in blood stepped in so far that should I wade no more, returning were as tedious as to go over. Strange things I have in head that will to hand, which must be acted ere they may be scanned. So he says that I have advanced into bloodshedding so far. मैं खून खराबे में इतना ज्यादा आगे बढ़ चुका हूं that moving forward in further bloodshedding or retreating back, coming back would be equally tedious, would be equally tiring. So मैं पीछे हट जाऊं या मैं आगे बढ़ूं, दोनों ही एक ही बात है. So इससे बेटर कि मैं पीछे हटूं, मैं आगे बढ़ूंगा. I am going to indulge into more and more of violence in order to maintain my position. That is what he is saying. So I have stepped so far in blood that wading means, it's like a slow movement when you are inside water and you face difficulty in walking further. That is what wade conveys. So I wade no more. I just cannot retreat myself back. Returning, retreating, going back, coming back were as tedious, is equally difficult as to go forward, go over. Strange things I have in head. I have some strange plans going on in my mind, which shall be enacted, executed first, performed first, before it can be scanned. So whatever plan is going on in my head, before I sit and interpret it, think about it, I would want it immediately to be performed. I would want it to be immediately executed. ठीक है? So strange things I have in my head that will to the hand means it will be put to action, which must be acted. Ere means before they may be scanned. Before I think about those plan, whatever should come to my mind, I will immediately act upon it. Lady Macbeth, you lack the season of nature. You are restless right now. You are in a state of mental trauma. Please come and sleep. Stop talking and just come retire to bed. Come, we'll to sleep. Come, let's go off to sleep. My strange and self-abuse is the initiate fear that wants hard use. We are yet but just young indeed. He says that all these hallucinations and all these delusions are the outcome of me and you being inexperienced in being villainous. Since we are very novice means we are very premature into the acts of murder. हमने खून खराबा पहले इतना किया नहीं है. We have never acted so evil and we have never drowned ourselves into bloodshedding, and we are quite inexperienced, or we are quite novice, N-O-V-I-C-E, and that is why I am having such hallucinations. I am having such terrible sight, which is just going to be better by practicing. So once I commit more and more of bloodshedding and more of violence, I will get used to it. I will get better at it. I will become precise at it. ठीक है? So we are just young. We are just beginners in our criminality, which might get better with more and more of performing the acts of murders. And the scene comes to an end. So before we go ahead, before I take your leave, I would want you to just read this. There you go. So this scene reveals the psychological consequences of Macbeth's action. The scene gives us a depth and insight into Macbeth's frame of mind at present. Banquo's ghost indicates his fear and guilt. Please use this phrase that Banquo's ghost symbolizes manifestation of Macbeth's fear. His internal paranoia and turmoil is manifested through the illusions and hallucinations that he has been having recently. Okay? That is what Banquo's ghost symbolizes. And Macbeth has descent into madness. He has drowned into madness which becomes more evident, which is in sharp contrast with his earlier ambition and strength. The way he was resolved, the way he was confident in getting Duncan killed, even though he was a little apprehensive while killing Duncan, but through Lady Macbeth's pressing, he committed the act of regicide. And later on, he independently planned out Banquo's murder. He seemed a bit overconfident at that time, but now his confidence has been shaken up through Banquo's ghost. So his mental trauma and his paranoia becomes evident, more and more evident through this scene. And this scene foreshadows to the impending doom of Macbeth, which justifies Macbeth as a tragic hero. His decision to resort to the Weird Sisters shows his growing obsession with his kingly position. It is the price of the ambition that he is paying through his mental trauma, with his mental unrest. Please remember that. And the scene heightens the growing difference between Macbeth and Lady Macbeth, even though Lady Macbeth takes an active role and she tries to cover up for her husband, but she fails in her attempt. Macbeth's erratic behavior it overpowers Lady Macbeth's attempt to pacify or control him. The scene further highlights Macbeth's continuity to preserve power and control as he decides to meet with the Weird Sisters again. So his obsession to maintain his kingly position and his last statement that I have stepped in blood so far that going back or moving forward would be equally difficult. And therefore, from now on, strange things which I have in my mind, before they are scanned, before they are interpreted, I would want my hands to act upon it. So his decision to get into further violence shows that Macbeth will stretch himself to any extent to maintain his throne and power, even though if it costs many more lives. That is what we get to understand from this scene. So I hope you all liked my explanation video, and if you are liking my content, then please do like, share, subscribe, and drop your doubts in the comment section below. I definitely read your comments and I'm going to resolve it as soon as possible. I'll see you in my next video. Till then, keep studying, keep smiling, take care, bye bye.